Good morning, NBA fans. Welcome to the first ever NBA 24/7 365 uh, video podcast, I guess you'd call it. Um, Basically, I decided to try something new today. I've been wanting to do a video or a podcast for a while, and I've just never gotten around to trying. Um, I sent out a tweet a couple days ago. Uh, Somebody invite me on your podcast, it said. Um, Obviously, nobody answered because I'm not cool enough for anybody's podcast, apparently, uh, or at least any of the however many people follow me on Twitter. I'm not cool enough for any of their podcasts. So, you know what? I'm just gonna do it myself. I'm cool enough for my own podcast. So whatever. Um, First of all, um, I guess I just want to talk about some of the games that happened tonight. I first looked, I thought the schedule looked a little grim. Um, the uh, the game that I chose as my game to watch didn't didn't really pan out, to say the least. That was the Houston Rockets 125 over the Utah Jazz 80, and that was a Utah home game um, between the seventh and eighth seeds in the West. 45-point differential. Well, don't know what happened there. Bad choice on my part. Um, James Harden did have a really nice dunk. If anybody actually watched the game, you got to see that. Cocked it back with the right hand. Um, I was very disappointed at the end of this game because I actually checked in on this game uh, when I saw Jeremy Evans had checked in, because Jeremy Evans tends to do some pretty crazy things when given time to play, which is very rarely. He plays like 2 minutes a game or something. I don't know. And he played 10 minutes and 51 seconds tonight. Did not dunk. Didn't dunk. No dunks. I was beyond. I was just so disappointed. I got like Jeremy Evans checking in the game is like, I don't know if you remember when Pops Mensah-Bonsu played for the Raptors, but like he'd check in the game for garbage time. Like I'd always watch the Raptors score and just hope to God they'd get killed. And I'd watch their score on while I was watching other games, and if they got down by like 20 points, I'd flip over to their game, and it was like guaranteed Pops Mensah-Bonsu would just do something crazy spectacular. That's like Jeremy Evans to me is like the new Pops Mensah-Bonsu, except the Jazz don't get blown out enough. But they did today, and Jeremy Evans still didn't do anything. He's just so disappointing all around. And yeah, um, I'm going. These games are going, by the way, in order of what I would consider least interesting to most interesting. So that was least interesting. Second least interesting, uh, the Nets 97, Magic 77. Um, the redeeming qualities of this game is uh, it seemed to have a little touch of humor. I don't know if you saw the video of Andre Blatch getting spiked in the face by Kyle Orton trying to save the basketball. Um, Safe to say, all Wizards fans were jealous of Kyle Orton on that play. That's pretty much what Wizards fans have wanted to do to Andre Blatch for like 3 years now. And then, I think it was after that. I don't really know the order of this because I wasn't watching the game. This is the order I saw the YouTube videos in. Uh, Glenn Davis just Gerald Wallace scores a layup and is in the air, and before he can come down, Glenn Davis just catches him and like throws Wallace over his shoulder like a like Santa with his sack of presents or something, and like carries him to the end line and sets him down. Now I know, like, I was watching it, and first of all I was thinking, how is that not a foul? I mean, I know he was trying to prevent Wallace from getting hurt, but you still can't grab somebody out of the air and hug them. I don't think, at least. I never thought that was part of the game, but anyway. Uh, but Glenn Davis, I said this in a post I made a few days ago, the one where he like bit Aaron Gray's chin. I was saying Glenn Davis, I feel like a cornball stealing this line over and over, but he's a habitual line stepper, like Charlie Murphy said in the Rick James Chappelle show. He's a habitual line stepper. The guy just keeps, he just does, he keeps on doing all this weird shit, and I just, I'm not even involved, and it makes me a little bit, it irks me a little bit. Like, I, I can't believe nobody's at least like shoved Glenn Davis at this point, if not like decked him, because I don't know if you saw go on YouTube and type in Glenn Davis and one dance. He scores an and one against the Pacers. This is a couple weeks ago, and he literally like almost grinds up on Roy Hibbert, like shaking his ass after this basket. And I'm just thinking, like, I'm all for, obviously, I'm a big proponent of, like, the showboating after a slam dunk. I enjoy that. I think it's fun. I think some people take basketball way too seriously and just need to lighten up a little bit. But Glenn Davis is like, he's doing some fruity stuff. He's crossing the line, in my opinion. Like, you can't be tasting people's beards and like twerking up on them like you're a stripper or something. Like, no, like that's not okay. All right, moving along. Chicago 93, Charlotte 85. Joakim Noah had a pretty crazy stat line in this game. 13 points, 18 rebounds, and 7 assists. But Jeff Adrian from the Charlotte Bobcats, 14, 10, and 1. Jeff Adrian, 14, 10, and 1. We know Noah can score a little bit. We know he rebounds. We know he passes. But Jeff Adrian, did we know he gets double-doubles? And it wasn't even a blowout, 93-85. Jeff Adrian, 14, 10, and 1. I even saw him, I saw about 5 minutes of this game. I saw Jeff Adrian face up, throw a little fake, go to the basket, pass fake, and try to poster dunk on somebody. I think he got fouled. Good game by Jeff Adrian. I gotta say, I like to give credit where credit's due. So Jeff Adrian, impressive. Uh, Golden State 114, Toronto 102. Andrew Bogut returned, and Steph Curry, of course, rolled his ankle. It's just Golden State's luck, I guess. And Curry's ankle, I'd like to note, was his jacked up right ankle that's rolls over like once a month, and he has surgery on every offseason. It's the right ankle that he hurt. So I sincerely hope that Steph Curry is okay. There's no word on it that I can find yet. I didn't see the play. He's having a great season. I obviously hope he's fine. So Bogut, anyway, had 12 points, 8 rebounds, and he had 4 blocks. 2 of them were on like one sequence where he actually blocked a shot and threw the ball away, and it came back down in transition, and he blocked another shot. So that was nice. It looked lively. But Aaron Gray, 22 points and 10 rebounds in a losing effort. Aaron Gray. I guess he's the Jeff Adrian of this game. Guess that's a trend. It was kind of funny if you check the box score on like Yahoo, it is that I check. So if you go on Yahoo and check the box score, you'll see Gray as the top performer, and he's got his little bowl cut, and it's just pretty funny. Check that out. Moving along, we have Memphis 103, Philadelphia 100. If I'm not mistaken, the Sixers pulled out to a 30-15 lead. I think it was. Is that right? I was watching the game. I didn't take note of it, but I think they pulled out to a 30-15 lead. And then Jared Bayless went crazy and scored 19 points in the first half. Again, if I'm not mistaken, this is nothing I took note of. I was just watching this game. Yeah, Jared Bayless went crazy and just made a whole bunch of jump shots. And I thought that was kind of funny because I don't get the impression that Jared Bayless is the most popular player on the Grizzlies roster. So I was like, oh, Jared Bayless, good for him. And it did end up coming in a winning effort. although it wasn't easy, just a 3-point game, like I said. Rudy Gay made the go-ahead shot, little half hook shot in the lane with his right hand, I believe. It looked to me like he drew the and one. I thought he got fouled, and they didn't call it. But anyway, it it didn't matter. So that must have felt good for Rudy Gay, I'd say. Having his name in all the trade rumors lately, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. To hit that game winner for him must have been good. So props to Rudy Gay for delivering. And next, Sacramento 96. Ooh, the Wizards 94. That's the second loss to the Kings in a couple games. That'll break your spirits. The pizza guy, Isaiah Thomas. He's a pizza guy. He's also a drive down the lane and shoot a game-winning floater guy. That's what he did tonight to get the job done in Washington. If I'm not mistaken, I think he had 20 some points. Nobody could really stay in front of him, including John Wall. Isaiah too speedy for Wall even. What I noted from this game, DeMarcus Cousins did not finish the game. As far as I know, I don't think he was injured. The Kings finished the game for the most part with Chuck Hayes and Thomas Robinson. They did a few defense substitutions at the very end, mostly for free throw purposes, like putting in for dead or whatever. But Hayes and Thomas Robinson pretty much finished up the game, and Hayes had one particular possession where Nene tried to drive across the lane, and Hayes is like, obviously, you run into Chuck Hayes, it's like hitting a brick wall. So Nene tried to drop his shoulder down, and nothing happened, and he just jumped up in the air with nowhere to go and just literally threw the ball to a Sacramento King like 2 feet away from him. So Chuck Hayes Nene's a pretty skilled, fluid offensive player. And Chuck Hayes just completely stifled that. That was a key possession. And Thomas Robinson had a big block shot where I think it was John Wall, but don't quote me on that, was going in for a layup in transition, and Thomas Robinson just came speeding out of nowhere and just smashed it off the backboard. And so that was Thomas Robinson. I really like his effort from what I've seen from him this year. He seems to work really hard. Unfortunately, I've said this before, I think, on the blog, a lot of the things he tries to do just don't work. His jumper's been a little and his moves have been a little so but his effort from what I can see, is always there, which is a good thing, and I love his attitude. They were interviewing him after the game, and they said, great game, Thomas. You made a big defensive impact. And he said, yeah, I wouldn't call it a great game. I made a few plays on the defensive end, but there were a lot of things I could have done better with. So I like where his head's at, and it's been that way since. It seems to me like I am no college basketball expert, but I read a few things, both about him and with him talking, and it seems like he's always looking for, pointing out areas where he could have done better, or things he could improve on. He seems like a guy that genuinely he seems like he really wants to be a good player and recognizes his weaknesses. At least it seems that way to me. Now, one more thing I wanted to note: the Kings really should not have needed this game winner from Isaiah Thomas. They were ahead by, they had a 2-possession lead, or no, they had a they had a 2-point lead, or geez, I'm sorry, 1-point lead. They had a 1-point lead, and Tyreke Evans went to the free throw line, and if had he hit 2 free throws, the Wizards would have needed a 3-pointer, with just like 15 seconds left. They probably never tie the game and put it in position for Thomas to have to hit the floater.